Anne-Marie, and welcome to our city homestead. Today we are going to be preserving herbs, so we'll be both freezing and drying our herbs. We'll be doing chives, parsley, and dill, but today we're going to be doing chives. So let's get to it. All right, so there's all the chives. They're really strong. The whole kitchen smells like onion. And some of the chives, when I was cutting them, like my eyes were burning. They're really strong. All right, they are all chopped up. You can easily use a knife. I use the kitchen shears just because, I don't know, I like the way it cuts and it doesn't bruise it, because if you don't have a super sharp knife, it can kind of bruise your chives, and then they don't either dry as nice or freeze as nice either. And then sometimes the edge is kind of brown, so I like using the kitchen shears. So there we go, done. Now I'll show you how I set them to dry. I do it the old-fashioned way like my grandmother did, and we will freeze it. So I'm just gonna have a sip of my tea and then let's get to it. All right, so here's our chives. They're really strong. Even my eyes are still stinging a little bit, and they're super like oniony. The whole kitchen smells, but I love chives. So it's quite all right. We have a lot here. The other day I dried some, took a couple days, and I would just scatter them on the plate here. And then after a day or so, I would just stir them around and make sure they're always like flat. And you don't want too thick of a layer because you want them to be able to dry. So these ones are dry, so I can put them away. And then these ones I took from the freezer. That's what they look like. And chives and dill and parsley too, they freeze really well and they look like fresh. So this one I just grabbed from the freezer, and you can see they're a little bit frozen on the side there, but they still kind of look fresh, right? Like there they are. So yeah, I like freezing it just because it's exactly like you just plucked it from the garden. And I like using frozen in the winter because then it tastes like summer. And you have, to me, it feels like I'm having fresh herbs when there's a whole bunch of snow outside. So that's why I like freezing them. There, see, that's all I have to do. Put the lid on and it'll go back into the freezer. Let's do one more here. One more jar. And then, maybe it'd be easier the other direction. Let's do it this way. All right, and then we've trimmed them all back outside, but in a few weeks, we should be able to trim them again. The one set of chives we've already, this is our second time trimming them. So we should be able to get at least one or two more rounds this summer yet. So there's that jar. I might put a little bit more in here. I see some little pieces when I was cutting, so I was cutting in big bunches. It almost took me an hour, so I was trying to cut more at a time. And then the little pieces kind of fell into here. So I've got some big pieces in here. That's okay. I mean, once they're dry too, they'll, I can like make them smaller. You know, you could just crumble them. Okay. I still have some more in here. So let me get some of this more of this out. And because this other chives here I have, these ones are dry. I don't want to add nothing to these, so I'm going to dry these separately because that one's ready to go into a jar and I can put them in the pantry. Okay, I'll just let that dry out a bit and then it'll be easier to take them out. All right, so when you're drying it this way, I do it like my grandmother dried herbs. I just lay them out and that's it. They'll just dry naturally. I have them on top of a cooling rack just so that the air can get to them. Usually, sometimes I put them on a tea towel, or if I'm not drying too much, I just put them in a plate. They're going all over the place. And, but if I'm drying a large amount, that, oh wow, this is still really big. Then I put them on parchment paper. I used to do tea towels, but then I found the tea towel, it stuck to the tea towel real lots and kind of kept it a little bit damp. It didn't dry it as well.
So, but if you have like a freeze dryer, you can freeze dry them as well. I don't have that, so I'm just going to stick to the good old-fashioned way. If it worked for Grandma, it's good for me. I mean, the only downfall with this is that instead of having it dry in, you know, maybe a few minutes or something, it takes a couple days, but that's totally okay. And then of course, if you have higher humidity in your home, it will take a lot longer to dry. All right, and that's it. That's it. Done. So these will go into the freezer. So I've got frozen chives. Super easy, right? And then I'm going to set these to dry, and then I will have some more dried chives. Hey everyone, welcome back. So the chives are now dry. It took a couple days to dry. And if you're not sure if you could tell if they're dry or not, just pick them up. And if they feel crunchy and crispy in your hands, they're ready to go. But if they feel damp, then they'll need to dry for another day or two. But look at that. And they hold such a nice vibrant green when they are dried in this way. I've got some store chives left over from the winter time because we ran out of our garden chives. And you could just see the huge difference in color. That's why I like air drying my herbs, just because they stay more vibrant and they're a lot more flavorful, I find. All right, so these chives are ready to go. Let's put them in the jar.